there, welcome to the I Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Dovston, and we are here at our monthly I Ching overview for the month of November 2023. That's right, 1 month before the last month of the year. Oh my word. So before we get into looking for focus from the I Ching for November, let's just recap where we were focusing our attention in October and what did that mean for us. We had Hexagram 63 after completion, right? The ending of something, finishing off something really well, coupled with an interesting changing line of losing the curtains of the carriage, moving that to Hexagram 5, waiting. So in the month of October, what the I Ching was trying to get our attention to focus our attention on, was the idea that there were lots of things, or perhaps one particular really important thing, where completion and finishing what we started and finishing the process we were finishing was on the table. Our attention would be focused into wherever we had open issues, open energy, open tendrils of connections that we were asked to continue to complete, not to change the strategy and completion right in the final minute. No. Is to complete the course, hold the line, and complete the journey. Finish things off. So for you, reflecting back on last month, where were the unfinished things, the issues that came up to bring their attention to you, that went, wake up, wake up, wake up. There are finishings that are needed. And what did that mean for you? Did you follow the advice of the I Ching and give those finishings your attention, okay, and your focus as you work towards bringing them in for a landing, completing the finishing? Or did you start a whole lot of new things? Okay, what did that mean for you? We also had this interesting changing line of the curtains of the carriage, losing something, your protection, and then getting it back in 7 days. Did that happen for you? I have a very silly story to share with you around that. My husband lost his driver's license card. The ultimate protection, right? If you're pulled over by a traffic officer, you do not want to be without that. And looked everywhere and faced the inevitability of having to go and apply for a new one. And then landed up going to visit a client that he hadn't been for a while. And the security guard ran towards him with his driver's license that he had left there a few weeks prior and had forgotten that that's where it was. And so he got his curtains back. He got his protection back. So it's a silly story of how I looked at the month and I thought, oh, man, there was a really physical example. And of course, it can play out for us on many different levels, not just in such a seemingly small, mundane way. Okay, so what were the curtains of the carriage that you lost, and did they come back? And then we had Hexagram 5, waiting, learning how to develop our patience, learning how to understand that good things take time. We can see the progress. We just have to hang 10, keep the faith, and get actively working to prepare for when that moment comes, where the rain comes, that we are ready to capture all the goodness, the blessings that we have been working so hard for. So what were you waiting on? Tapping your fingers, waiting. Okay, what did that mean for you? So that was October. Intense month, I found. Through all our weeklies, there was a lot of intensity and a lot of forward, outward pushing energy. So, what happens in November? Let's have a look. So our first hexagram, our main theme for this month, that we share, that we can kind of tap into as a collective subconscious or consciousness, okay, is hexagram 33, retreat. I had a suspicion that after all this energy of pushing out and completing and energy and power that we had through the monthly and the weeklies in October, that we might be in for a little bit of a whoa, Nelly. Okay, and this certainly is what this hexagram is saying, is bringing us an understanding that a key theme, a key thing that we're dialing into for November 2023 is this idea of pulling back from something that's not right for us now. Retreat is the story of how to deal with the battle, right? You're up against something, okay? You're up against a project that has requirements of you that you don't yet have, or that don't have team or enough people capacity to handle. You're up against someone who's negative, who's bringing a lot of difficult energy into your life. You're up against stress. You're up against expectations. You're up against something We are all up against something that is putting us under unnecessary pressure and can harm us. Now, we're not talking about harm as in the kind of the dire sense of imminent demise that sometimes comes across in the I Ching text. We're talking about things that can slow down our process and our ability to contribute and do good. Okay. So when we think about the idea of retreat, the theme for this month is that we're being tuned into 1, 2, 3, maybe more, maybe a very big issue, maybe a small thing where retreat is the best strategy. Now, when you're playing any kind of game, take chess, for example, any kind of game, there are times to go out and attack and there are times to pull back. And when you realize that you're vulnerable, you don't have enough pieces on the board to be able to do the next piece, you don't just relentlessly throw out and go, chase the queen around the board with your king. You understand that there comes a point where strategic retreat is the best strategy. And that doesn't mean failure. It means wisdom. So we need to get out of this mindset that pulling back from something and saying, I'm not sure this is for me or not for me now, or I just don't have it in me to go and win in this thing, right? Or to do well in this thing, or to be prosperous in this thing. I just don't have it at the moment. That is not failure. That is strategic wisdom. It's part of the gameplay, because gameplay is not just attack, get territory. It's also about learning how to retreat. My son does Kung Fu, and one of the things obviously they have to learn is not just how to kick and how to fight down the line once he's in that type of Kung Fu, but to learn how to take a punch, to learn how to retreat, to learn how to move away out of an opponent that's too strong in the moment. That's part of gameplay. So this month, we are retreating. Now, retreat might take many different shapes. We are all in a different place in a space and going through retreat in a different way. You might find from a business point of view, retreat is about saying no to a prospect, project, an opportunity because you don't feel ready for it. Okay. So this month, when you face things that come to you that demand you step up and demand you come to the table, just think about Hexagram 33, retreat. Is this the moment? Is this strategically important for you to push? Is my energy going out? Or is it better that I strategically withdraw? Okay, so we're going to have that in our minds. We're not necessarily saying that everything's retreat. We're not letting the I Ching dictate our every move. We are letting it be a little voice, that little radio station that says, is this a push moment? Is this for you? Or could you just take a moment and think about, is this the highest and the best process for me now? Okay. So from a business point of view, think about that. Think about maybe there's an opportunity to regroup. And with this hexagram, if it's not about, coming up against a foe that's too strong, right? It might also be about taking time out to regroup your own energy. We've all been on the offensive in October. It's been certainly a month of pushing out, lots of energy going out. It makes sense in the cycles of time that there comes a time to go back in. And maybe what you are needing in November is a little bit of breathing space. Okay. So it might not be that big foe that's knocking at your door. It might be just about your strategic wisdom in understanding yourself and understanding where you're at and what you need, your well-being, well enough to know when it's time to say, I just need time out. I'm not going to go on this outing or go to this party or go to wherever because I actually need some time to rejuvenate. I need to put some back into me. I need to go on a retreat. Maybe you're actually going to go on a retreat. I know often some of my friends and people who comment say, oh, I was planning to go on a retreat that week. I'm like, it's a good time to go. Okay, so it's that kind of idea. From a business point of view, you could also consider it to be an opportunity for a strategic retreat. Okay, could you take your leadership team out for a little bit to rethink and reevaluate where you're at, what you're up against, and what you can realistically do? Okay, particularly if you are in the process of putting yourself in front of new projects, new clients, new ideas, new businesses, new expansions. This month, that's the opportunity to do that. Just rethink, redo, reevaluate, retreat, see the process, see what your skills are, see what the moment needs. Just take time out. Doesn't have to be long, and then we can go back forward again. Okay, so the month very much is about self-care, being realistic, understanding what you face on the game board. Okay, where are the pieces? What do you have? Do you have the cover? Do you have the necessary defense? Okay, do you have the strength in your attack? Okay, where are you on this chessboard? Okay, and take it from there. To changing lines. Very interesting in the second and the sixth position. So in the second position, the retreat, we're not quite at the beginning of the retreat. We're just one step further, because remember the lines read from 1 up. We're in the second position. So we've just begun this retreat journey. And with this changing line, okay, the picture is created of you're trying to retreat and you have all these hangers on that are holding onto your legs for dear life, right? Like limpets, okay, sucked on. And you're trying to make your way out of the situation, to get out of something that's not for you at the moment, and you're trying to get out of it. And you have all these hangers on who are holding on to you for dear life because they can see the value that they bring to their activities. So this might be where you have associates, you have employees, or you have people that want something from you, okay, or gaining from you, and not the gaining happening the other way around, right? And so we're now trying to get out of it. Now, the more we try to get out of it, the more these guys are holding on for dear life. So what do we do in this situation? Well, we persevere. The changing line is calling us to accept that these guys are holding on, right? They're stuck on like glue. And we have to just keep moving forward. So you can imagine you've got always people holding onto your ankles, right? And you're waiting forward. Oh, it's so heavy, it's so heavy, it's so heavy. And the moral of this line, or what it's really asking us to do, is to persevere in that forward movement. Accept that the inferior people, or the hangers-on, or the negative influences are trying to hold on to the last little grain of benefit, right? But you just keep moving forward. So even if it's hard work, even if you are sweating from all this effort, is keep moving forward, keep pushing forward. And it's almost as if in time, the grip starts to loosen and we can make progress. And we certainly do make progress because we move to changing line 6 in this month as well. So remember, with the timing of these changing lines, if we've got a time-based question, we can break it up into segments. We can let the changing lines build up a little bit of a structure. So this changing line manifests from the beginning of November roundabout to the 10th. Okay, because we're now breaking November up into 3 sections because there are 2 changing lines. From the beginning to changing line 2, and then to changing line 6, and then to the final outcome hexagram. So roundabout to the 10th of the month, this energy of like, oh, these hangers on are just dragging me down, trying to get out of this thing, and I'm stuck. Just keep moving forward. Persevere. Put in the effort. Keep moving. Then into the 6th position. That means round about the 20th of the month that line matures. And here we have cheerful retreat. Okay. With changing line 6, or the 6th position, it's a culmination line. And here it's a positive culmination of the retreat being complete. Okay. Or rather, the opportunity to retreat being free. And this brings in this moment where suddenly it's almost like your karmic bonds or your kind of attachments into the situation are absolutely, unequivocally released. And with that comes this lightness of spirit and this energy and this cheerfulness that says, I'm free. Okay, and then we can move forward. We can be liberated from this thing that has not been in our highest and our best, that we've been trying to retreat out of. It might be something we've been trying to retreat out from a long period of time. It's not necessarily what happens in this month. It might be an old standing thing where you suddenly realize, okay, now I'm out. I'm done. With this changing line, it's almost like the shackles fall off and you're absolutely free to leave. And there's a cheerfulness of spirit that comes through this liberation. Okay, and then we can leave. So there's a culmination in this month, around about the 20th. Use it as an experiment. We work towards this idea of being free of the bond, free of the shackles of this experience, and being liberated to just let them go, okay, and walking off into the sunset. Nice picture. Now, where does this go to? Our outcome hexagram, our relating hexagram, our transforming hexagram, what I like to call the path to victory. Our second hexagram we're going to work with in this month of November is hexagram 28, great pressure. Oh, yes. We are still under pressure as we work with this month. Our path to victory, our transforming energy is this idea of pressure. We're under stress, okay? We're coming up with the end of the year, and there's things to get done, and there's retreating, and there's all this work, okay? And there's a whole lot of human issues to pay attention to. And so what this hexagram brings us is it brings us an awareness to where we are under excessive pressure. We sometimes experience this pressure point when we're under a crisis or in a crisis, or we're in a moment where everything is bearing down very, very hard. Now, usually what this pressure is coming from is moving forward, new energy. So it's coming out of a surge of new energy, okay, that's putting us under pressure. The idea of this ridge beam, right, this energy in the middle, always male, young lines, and these two female lines on either end struggling to hold the energy, and this sagging energy that's wanting to really put us under pressure. And so how we deal with pressure, how do we respond under pressure is our theme, right? If we collapse into the pressure, right, what we do is we keep on saying yes to things, right? We keep on spending time in projects and avenues that are not essential, like, the fiddly bits that are fun around the peripherals, not core. And we then buckle. Everything collapses because we can't hold up the pressure bearing down. We have to take responsibility for the pressure we choose and how we respond under pressure. And that's the victory of this hexagram. We take the path of the superior person, of the master in the moment, and we focus on the core. We focus on what's essential. We put down consciously all the side stories that are not essential in mastering this moment of getting all the maximum value out of the creative energy pumping. We shore up our scaffolding. We shore up our foundation. We make sure that we have put in place things to hold us and to hold the energy as we go through this intensity, right? And that is how we master this hexagram. The path to victory in this month is that we have the chance to really move some powerful energy through our lives, through our businesses, through the people we love, right? We have to master the stress. We have to learn to say no. We have to learn to prioritize. We have to learn to augment the structures that are buckling, okay, the things that are taking the hit, you've got a earthquake, all right? You've got structures who take that energy up, right? They're buckling. Ooh, there's those pictures of those buildings going woo, 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 like jelly. Not good, right? We need to be able to withstand that stress and build our structures that they can take the earthquake, right? So we take that path and we are victorious because we learn how to manage stress, and we have the courage to walk alone, to undertake something exceptional, to undertake, powerful things, because we are working in principle and we're working in a higher place, which means that we can just unlock magic through this hexagram 28 because we are working with it in the right way. Okay, so very interesting month of November. Retreat, okay, pulling back, and intense pressure. How will this all work out for us? Will we work with understanding and being tuned into the radio station of retreat? Where are things not good for us? Where on the game board are we at risk? Where do we need to shore up, all right? Maybe we can see retreat and we can see pressure together. We're under pressure. Read the hexagrams backwards. We're under extreme pressure, and the strategy and the victory is through retreat. Why can't we flip the script and look at them both ways? Either way, we have got work to do to make sure that we are not extending ourselves into areas that are beyond us right now, that can put us at risk in many different levels, different ways, and that we manage our stress, because there's an opportunity, but not if we collapse and fall over. Thank you so much for being here with me. If this was meaningful to you, a thumbs up would be really great. And of course, if you are new to the channel or the podcast, hit the subscribe button and the bell, because that's how you get the notifications of the new episodes. And of course, the follow button if you're on the podcast. And I look forward to seeing you at our next weekly overview, our full one for November, very soon. Thank you so much.